Hey there, fellow public servants. We all want to make a difference in the lives of Canadians, right?
Absolutely.
But have you ever thought about all the behind-the-scenes tech stuff that makes it all possible?
Yeah, like the systems and tools and things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
So today we're doing a deep dive into something called application hosting.
Ooh, that sounds
I know, right?
eh,
It might sound kind of dry, but trust me,
okay.
it's actually way more interesting than you think.
All right, I'm intrigued.
Our source material for this deep dive is the 2024 Application Hosting Strategy,
Okay.
straight from Canada.k.
Very official.
It's basically the government's playbook for managing all of its digital tools.
All 8,000 of them, you said?
Oh, yeah. Did I mention that already?
I think so.
Well, just in case there are over 8,000 applications that the government uses.
Wow.
So this strategy is super important for keeping everything running smoothly.
Makes sense.
And this isn't even the first version.
Oh, really?
This document's actually an update. It's replacing the 2016 Cloud Adoption Strategy.
Interesting. So they've updated their approach.
Yeah, they've realized that a one-size-fits-all solution just doesn't work for something this complex.
I see. So it's not just about jumping on the cloud bandwagon anymore.
Exactly. It's about finding the best fit for each application and being smart about how we use resources.
That's a good point.
Mm.
So before we get into the strategy itself,
Yeah,
can we break down what exactly application hosting is?
of course. So imagine you're setting up a new office for your team.
Okay.
You wouldn't try to cram everyone into a tiny little room, right?
No way. You need the right space for the job.
Exactly. Data centers are kind of like those government-owned buildings that we manage ourselves.
Uh-huh.
Cloud options are more like renting space from a company that specializes in this kind of thing.
Right. Like we pay for what we use.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just like you wouldn't put a huge team in a tiny room, you wouldn't choose the wrong hosting solution for an application.
Makes sense. The needs have to match.
Exactly. So why did they change the strategy?
Good question.
Well, remember those 8,000 applications we talked about?
Oh, yeah. That's a lot to manage.
It's mind-boggling. And those early days of cloud adoption,
Yeah,
we learned a lot about what works and what doesn't and what can get expensive really quickly.
I bet. So they decided to get more strategic about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They realized they needed a more cost-conscious approach
Mm,
that really focuses on what each application actually needs.
I see.
And that's where this new strategy comes in. It's all about eliminating waste, improving efficiency, and freeing up resources so we can all do our jobs better.
That sounds great for everyone involved,
Yeah.
especially the taxpayers.
Totally. This is about making sure we're using taxpayer dollars responsibly.
Right. So ultimately, it's about better service for Canadians.
Exactly. When our tools work better, WE work better, and Canadians benefit.
I like it. So what's the vision for the future with this strategy?
Well, the document lays out 4 key goals.
Okay, let's hear them.
Robust governance, smart procurement, sustainable funding, and consolidated services.
Those sound like some pretty lofty goals.
They are, but they're all about making things better for us and for Canadians.
So how will we actually see these goals play out in our day-to-day work?
Great question. So to give you an example, the document talks about things like agile onboarding of applications.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
It means getting new tools up and running faster without all the usual bureaucratic headaches.
So less red tape, more efficiency.
Exactly. It's about making sure we have the tools we need when we need them.
I can definitely get behind that.
Yeah.
So who's in charge of making all this happen?
Okay, brace yourself for some acronyms.
Oh, no.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's important. So we've got the Treasury Board Secretariat, or TBS.
Okay, TBS.
They're the big picture folks. They set the overall direction and make sure everything's on track.
All right. And who else?
Then there's Shared Services Canada, or SSC.
SSC. Got it.
They're the tech experts. They're responsible for actually delivering those hosting services.
Okay, so TBS sets the vision and SSC makes it happen.
Exactly. But here's the important part.
What's that?
Your institution plays a crucial role too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You guys are the ones who know your programs and services best. So you need to be involved in the decision-making process.
So it's a collaborative effort.
Exactly. It's about working together, TBS, SSC, and your institution to make sure we're all on the same page.
This is starting to sound less like a tech thing and more like a teamwork thing.
It is. Both are important. And here's where things get a little counterintuitive.
Oh, I like counterintuitive.
Remember all that hype about cloud adoption a few years ago?
I was moving to the cloud.
Well, this new strategy actually emphasizes choosing the best option, not just the trendiest.
Oh, interesting. So they're saying the cloud isn't always the answer.
Exactly. Data centers, those government-owned facilities still have a vital role to play.
I see. Especially when it comes to security and predictable costs.
Exactly. It's about making smart decisions based on the specific needs of each application.
So not just blindly following the crowd.
Exactly. It's about being strategic and making sure we're using resources wisely.
Well, I think we've laid some good groundwork here.
I agree. We've got a good understanding of what application hosting is and why it matters.
For sure.
But how does this new strategy actually affect you as a public servant?
That's the big question. And we'll dive into that in our next part.
Stay tuned.
All right, so we've talked about the big picture of this application hosting strategy.
Yeah, the vision and all that.
Exactly. But how does it actually play out, like, in your day-to-day work as a public servant?
Right. Because we don't want this to be just another policy document that sits on a shelf.
No, definitely not. This strategy emphasizes actually using data to make decisions.
Data-driven decision-making.
Exactly.
So instead of just going with our gut or, following the latest tech trends.
Yeah, we need to actually look at the numbers.
So we're talking about like performance data, cost analysis.
There's security needs, user feedback.
All of that. It's about getting a clear picture of how each application is doing and what it needs. And then using that information to decide where it should be hosted.
Exactly. Whether it makes more sense to keep it in a data center or move it to the cloud.
And the best part is we actually have a voice in this process.
Yeah, you're not just stuck with whatever the tech folks decide.
So if I'm in a meeting and we're talking about a new application for my team,
Uh-huh.
I can actually use this data to advocate for a specific hosting solution.
Exactly. You can say, hey, based on our analysis, a cloud-based solution would be perfect for this.
It'll let us scale quickly and adapt to changing needs.
Right. Or you might say, wait a minute, the data we're handling is super sensitive.
We need the security of a data center.
Precisely. It's about making informed decisions that are best for your team and for the services you're delivering.
And ultimately for Canadians.
Absolutely. So this framework isn't just about data, though.
Right. There's also a clear structure for how this all works.
Exactly. Remember those key players? TBS, SSC, and your institution?
Yeah.
It's all about collaboration.
So TBS sets the overall strategy, SSC provides the technical expertise, and our institutions bring those insights about our specific needs.
Exactly. It's a team effort.
And communication is key.
Absolutely. We need to be talking to each other, sharing information, working together to find the best solutions.
Because at the end of the day, we all rely on these applications to do our jobs.
You're right. Efficient application hosting is like having a strong foundation for a house.
You might not see it, but it's essential.
Exactly. If your applications are slow or unreliable, it makes everyone's job so much harder.
We've all experienced those frustrating tech glitches.
Oh, yeah. But when your applications are hosted properly, everything just runs smoother.
We can focus on serving Canadians instead of troubleshooting tech problems.
Exactly. It frees us up to be more creative, more efficient, more impactful.
And that's what it's all about, right? Making a difference.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've established that this strategy isn't a one-time thing.
Yeah, technology is always changing.
Right, so this document actually emphasizes continuous improvement.
They know this is an ongoing process.
Exactly. TBS and SSC will be monitoring the strategy's performance, gathering feedback, and making adjustments as needed.
So it's a living document.
It shows a commitment to getting this right.
I like that. But here's the big question.
What's that?
How does all of this benefit Canadians at the end of the day?
Well, think about it. When we optimize our application hosting, we can streamline service delivery.
Things move faster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Information is more accessible, and ultimately we're reducing costs.
Which means more resources for essential programs and services.
You got it.
That's
It's
right.
about making government more efficient, more effective, and more responsive to the needs of Canadians.
So it's all about making their lives easier.
One application at a time.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But there's one final piece I want to touch on.
Okay.
The document mentions something called smart procurement.
Right.
What exactly does that mean? And how does it help us get the tools we need to serve Canadians effectively?
Okay.
Okay, so smart procurement.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Well, it's about being strategic and efficient when we're buying new applications.
Right.
Instead of rushing into things, we take a step back.
Uh-huh.
We analyze our needs carefully.
So, like, what are we really trying to solve here?
Exactly. What are the must-have features? How will this new application work with our existing systems?
Right. And I'm guessing cost is a big factor, too.
Absolutely. We need to know how much this is all going to cost.
So it's about doing our homework before making big decisions.
Exactly. And thinking long-term, too.
Okay.
Will this application be sustainable? Can it adapt as our needs change?
So we don't end up with a system that's outdated in a couple of years.
Exactly. By asking those tough questions up front, we can avoid costly mistakes down the road.
And that saves taxpayer dollars.
Right. Which benefits everyone.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So smart procurement is about getting the best value for our money.
Exactly.
I feel like we've learned so much in this deep dive.
Me too.
Application hosting might seem like a technical topic,
Yeah.
but it really has a direct impact on how we serve Canadians.
Absolutely. It's the foundation for everything we do.
So what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I'd say don't underestimate the power of understanding application hosting.
It's more important than we might think.
It is. Get involved in the conversations, ask questions, advocate for the tools you need to do your best work.
Great advice. And remember, this is an ongoing process.
Yeah, technology is always evolving.
So stay curious, keep learning, and be part of building a better digital government.
We're all Canadians.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time.